Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jannelle and today I'm going to be doing my October wrap up and my November TBR. So in October, I read a lot. I read 9 books and I don't usually read that much. I mean, sometimes I do, but it's not on the more common side. The first book that I read this month is Breakout by Nina Croft. I actually got this book by the publisher in exchange for an honest review, and I actually reviewed it on vampirebookclub.net, which I'll link down below. I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars, and if you're interested in aliens, vampires, dystopian societies in space, you'll like this one. I'll be sure to link my review down below. The next book that I read this month was Falling In by Lydia Michaels. I already reviewed this one here on YouTube and I also reviewed it on my blog, so I'll be sure to link that down below. I really enjoyed this novel. It's basically about a girl named Scout. She's homeless. She gets a job at the Patriots Hotel, which is a very fancy high-end hotel. She starts a relationship with Lucy and Patras, who is one of the owners of the hotel, and yeah, it goes from there. It's amazing book. And actually the next 2 books that I read were Breaking Out and Coming Home, the next 2 books in the Surrender trilogy by Lydia Michaels, and I loved them. The entire series as a whole, I gave it 4 stars, but I'll do an in-depth review later on. The 5th book that I read this month is Burn For Me by Ilona Andrews. Now this is my first Ilona Andrews novel. It makes me be like, where the hell have I been? Because everybody's always talking about the Kate Daniels series by Ilona Andrews, and this is probably the best book I've read all year. It's not probably, it is the best book I've read all year. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars and it's just like, I'm dying for the next one to get here, and I just definitely going to reread it again before the second book comes out. I also reviewed this book for vampirebookclub.net and I'm going to link it down below. 5 out of 5 stars. You need this book in your life. It's like the convergence of paranormal romance and urban fantasy novels. Just like they had a baby and this is their love child. You need to read this book. So good. Best book I've read in such a long time. 6th book that I've read this month is Lying with Wolves by Cynthia Cook. I gave that book 3.5 out of 5 stars. In Lying with Wolves, Celia, who is a shifter, is running away from the colony that she grew up in and attempting to get away from her ex-lover Malcolm. Totally betrayed her and left her. She went to Arizona from her home in the Pacific Northwest. She tried to create a brand new life in Arizona. Fortunately, her mother passes away and now she's called back to the colony to help to recharge some crystals her mother knew how to do. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you like paranormal romance novels, if you like shifter books, I definitely recommend this. The next 2 books that I read this month were the first 2 novels in the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series by Laurel K. Hamilton. I think these are new covers because I feel like I've seen other covers before. This is a series that I've been meaning to get into for a really long time. I love vampire novels. It's probably my favorite type of book to read. I know, but me and vampires go way back. And witches. I really like witches. So the first book I gave it 4 stars and the second book I gave 4.25. Is that ridiculous? I liked it a little bit better than I did the first book. The first book in the series is called Guilty Pleasures and the second book in the series is called The Laughing Corpse. In this series, vampires are out of the coffin, if you will, so everybody knows that they exist. There's a lot of world building going on. I really enjoyed these 2 books. Actually, I already picked up the next book. Definitely recommend if you're into vampire urban fantasy novels. There's close to no romance in this series, at least so far. Anita Blake is a vampire hunter, but that's not really her job. Her job is an animator. She animates dead things, so if somebody needs to raise a zombie, they call her and she does it. Also is known as the executioner to vampires, which doesn't make her very popular with them. If you've read them, please let me know how you like them, if it gets better, if it gets worse, if you love it, if you hate it, please let me know down below. I really want to talk about these. The last book that I read this month, which actually I didn't read, I listened to it via Audible, is book 7 in the Charlie Davidson series by Dorinda Jones, and it's called 7th Grave and No Body. The Charlie Davidson series is amazing. I've listened to all of them on Audible. I exchanged them for free credits. Yeah, because of my monthly membership, and love. It's one of the top series I read this entire year. I've done multiple blog posts talking about how much I love each and every book in the series. 7th Grade with Nobody is actually the latest installment in the Charlie Davidson series. And in case you're unfamiliar, it's a book about Charlie Davidson, and she's the Grim Reaper. She's also a private investigator. She's also engaged to the son of Satan. So yeah, it's awesome. You need to pick it up if you haven't already. I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, those are the 9 books that I read this month. Actually, there's 4 here, but the other 5, you know, they were read on a tablet or on Audible, So now for my November TBR. Excuse me if my throat's a little weird. I've been really sick and I'm just starting to come out of it. Tea break. So the first book that I plan to read in November is A Discovery of Witches. Really the first book in the All Souls trilogy. As you can see, I already started it and I'm really liking it so far. About a scholar named Diana Bishop, and history of the science of alchemy. She comes upon a manuscript that's kind of been hidden / lost for centuries. Now everybody in the kind of mystical community, so in this world there's demons, vampires, and witches, also humans. She's a witch, and this manuscript kind of says the history of where all these creatures come from, and it's really good. I'm really liking it, and yeah, I can't wait to finish. So the next book that I plan to read in November is actually the second book in the All Souls trilogy, and it's called Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. I'm not going to read the back of this cover because I'm scared it's going to spoil anything from the ending of the first book, but yeah, second book in the All Souls trilogy, Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. Woo! The third book that I plan to read this month is The Art of Eating Through the Zombie Apocalypse by Lauren Wilson. So this book was given to me by the publisher, and actually my blog is going to be hosting the blog tour on this Thursday, November 6th. And I'll be doing a review of this book along with a recipe. I don't know if you are familiar with my blog, but I do a lot of mashups, and usually it's on Mondays. They're called Mashup Mondays, and I do combination of cookbook review / recipe adaptation of that cookbook. This time it's going to be on a Thursday, and it's going to be about this book right here, and I really like it so far. It's so creative, and it's basically a survival guide, how to cook and how to basically survive through the apocalypse. It's so cool. There's so many interesting and amazing things, and if you're really into zombies and you like those kind of survival books, definitely get this. And it's actually really a cookbook. Like, there's some great recipes in here. I'll be talking about this soon. The next book that is on my TBR is Circus of the Damned by Laurel K. Hamilton. Now, I just told you that I read the first 2 books in the series, so I really want to read this next book. It's the 3rd book in the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series. I don't even know what it's about. In the back it's just a picture of the author. It's like so weird, and it just says, when a powerful centuries-old vampire hits Anita Blake's town, a battle of the undead ensues. So sounds mysterious. I really like the series so far, so I guess it doesn't really matter to me what it's about at this point. I'm just gonna read it anyway. So the next book on my TBR I don't have with me. It's actually a copy that I got from the publisher. It's called I'm Dreaming of an Undead Christmas by Molly Harper. It's a Half Moon Hollow novella. So if you're familiar with her Half Moon Hollow series, it's 2.7. So I'm assuming there's book 1, book 2, book 2.5, and book 2.7. And then it's like the next book. So it follows around vampire Gigi and basically the stressful life of being a vampire. You know, life goes on, or undead life goes on. And if you haven't read any Molly Harper novels before, I definitely recommend them. I love her prose. She's just hilarious. She really brings to life these vampire characters. It's not the like scary, mean type of vampire novels. She does a great job. The book that I have on my November TBR is Spies by Ceresia Glass. Again, I don't have this book with me because it's a copy that I was given by Berkeley to review, and I have it online, so I actually have it on my Kindle. It's basically about a bake shop owner and a sex ed professor getting together. It's an erotic contemporary romance because I read smut and I don't care. Just 6 books in my November TBR. I might read more than that. I might not get through all of those. Those are the ones that I would really like to get through for review purposes. I might start the Kate Daniels series by Ilana Andrews just because Burn For Me was so good, and I'm really looking for another great book like that one. That's pretty much it. I read a lot in October. A lot. That's it. That's my wrap up and TBR. So if you enjoyed it, if there are books that you've already read, if there are books that you plan to read, tell me what you plan to read in November. Tell me what you read in October. Tell me if you read any of the books that I read and if you liked them or if you hated them and why. So I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and that's it. Bye.